Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
The Minnesota Vikings are absolutely spiraling into one of the most dramatic off-seasons in franchise history. And if you're not paying attention, you're missing the football soap opera of the decade. From blockbuster quarterback acquisitions to heartbreaking retirements. From trade rumors that refuse to die to spending freezes that have fans scratching their heads in confusion, the Vikings organization is serving up more plot twists than a season finale of your favorite drama series. Buckle up, because what's happening in Minnesota right now is nothing short of absolute pandemonium, and we're about to break down every single juicy detail that has the entire NFL world buzzing with speculation and debate. Let's start with the elephant in the room, or should we say the Viking in the longboat. The Minnesota Vikings just made one of the most shocking moves of the entire free agency period by signing Kyler Murray, the former Arizona Cardinals quarterback who was supposed to be rebuilding his career elsewhere. This isn't just any backup signing, folks. This is a full-blown statement that sends shockwaves through the entire organization and raises massive questions about the future of their former first-round pick, JJ McCarthy. The drama is real. The stakes are higher than ever, and Vikings fans are divided right down the middle about whether this move is genius or absolute madness. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Jonathan Greenard, the Vikings' elite pass rusher, was supposed to have his contract escalator kick in, triggering an additional $4 million that would become guaranteed. Trade rumors have been swirling around Greenard like a Minnesota blizzard, with multiple teams reportedly interested in acquiring his services. The deadline came and went, and absolutely nothing happened. No trade materialized, no official announcement, just complete radio silence from the Vikings front office. The needle that was pointing toward Greenard is gone is now swinging back toward Greenard is staying, and honestly, nobody knows what to believe anymore. If he stays, Vikings fans should be absolutely thrilled because having an elite pass-rushing trio is the kind of defensive firepower that can terrorize opposing offenses all season long. The conflicting reports about whether the Vikings even want to pay that escalator are driving analysts absolutely crazy. Some sources say if Greenard stays, Minnesota pays it without hesitation. Others claim that if he's traded, the escalator might transfer to whichever team acquires him. Does this complicate potential trade negotiations? Does it make a deal more or less likely? Your guess is as good as anyone's at this point. What we do know is that the Vikings front office is playing this situation closer to the vest than a gambler hiding aces up his sleeve. The suspense is absolutely killing everyone, and we're all just waiting for some kind of resolution to this never-ending saga. Now, let's talk about another Vikings legend whose future remains shrouded in mystery. Harrison Smith, the safety who has been the backbone of Minnesota's defense for over a decade, might be hanging up his cleats for good. According to insider reports, there's no imminent resolution expected for weeks or possibly even months. The Vikings had to use that June 1st cut designation to avoid getting absolutely slapped with his full salary cap hit, which tells you they're at least preparing for the possibility that he doesn't return. But here's the thing about Harrison Smith that makes this situation so fascinating. The man is an absolute football junkie. He lives and breathes this game in a way that few players do, and there's a legitimate scenario where he skips training camp, takes his time making a decision, and then shows up late in the preseason because he just can't resist that competitive fix one more time. Is Harrison Smith retiring or not? Right now, that arrow is pointed straight down the middle because predicting what a warrior like Smith will do is basically impossible. He's earned the right to make this decision on his own timeline, and Vikings fans will respect whatever choice he ultimately makes. But if you're asking for a gut feeling, there's something about true competitors that makes them come back for just one more season, one more chance to prove they've still got it, one more opportunity to help their team chase a championship. Don't be shocked if Harrison Smith is suiting up in purple and gold when September rolls around. Speaking of retirements, this one is official, and it's going to hit Vikings fans right in the feels. Adam Thielen and JJ Ham are holding a joint retirement press conference at TCO Performance Center next Thursday, and the team has already made the official announcement. Two Minnesota boys, two absolute Vikings legends, riding off into the sunset together in what promises to be an emotional send-off that will have everyone reaching for the tissue box. Adam Thielen's journey from undrafted free agent to Pro Bowl wide receiver is the stuff of fairy tales, and JJ Ham established himself as one of the most versatile and dependable fullbacks in the entire league. These guys represent everything that's great about football: hard work, dedication, local pride, and consistently showing up when their team needed them most. The Vikings organization is absolutely doing the right thing by giving Thielen and Ham a proper, dignified farewell. These aren't just players who wore the uniform. These are guys who bled purple and gold, who represented Minnesota with class and excellence, and who gave everything they had to this franchise. Seeing them walk away together feels poetic somehow. Two hometown heroes who made good and now get to celebrate their incredible careers side by side. If you're a Vikings fan and you're not getting emotional thinking about this, check your pulse, because you might actually be a robot. Now let's talk about something that has Vikings fans absolutely scratching their heads in confusion. According to the latest reports, Minnesota has spent the second least amount of money on external free agents in the entire NFL, only ahead of the Denver Broncos. Think about how absolutely wild that is. Just 1 year ago, the Vikings were among the biggest spenders in free agency, throwing money around like they were trying to buy a championship immediately. This year, complete 180. The approach is conservative, calculated, and completely different from what we saw 12 months ago. They're hunting for bargain deals, looking for value signings, and refusing to break the bank for big-name players who might not fit their long-term vision. Is this approach smart, or are the Vikings being too cheap? That's the million-dollar question that has fans debating non-stop on social media and sports radio. On one hand, fiscal responsibility is important, and overpaying for declining veterans in free agency is how teams get stuck in salary cap hell for years. On the other hand, this team was one game away from the NFC Championship last season before everything fell apart. Shouldn't they be in win-now mode? Shouldn't they be aggressive about adding pieces that can put them over the top? The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, but it's absolutely fascinating to watch this front office completely flip their philosophy from 1 year to the next. Here's where things get really interesting for draft enthusiasts and offensive line nerds. The Vikings are reportedly working out Tristan Lee, an offensive tackle from Clemson who stands 6'6" and weighs 310 pounds. This is a private workout, which means Minnesota is doing their homework on this guy before draft day arrives. Lee is projected to be a third-day pick, somewhere in that 4th to 7th round range, which tells you exactly what the Vikings are thinking. They want to add an offensive tackle at some point in this draft, probably someone who can develop into a quality swing tackle or potentially compete for a starting role down the line. What makes Tristan Lee so intriguing is his background. The guy was a former 5-star recruit coming out of high school, which means he had elite physical tools and tremendous upside at one point in his career. However, his draft stock has fallen due to technical inconsistencies and recent injury concerns, which is exactly the kind of situation where savvy teams can find incredible value. How many times have we seen it? A talented player gets injured, teams get scared, his draft stock plummets, and then some smart organization grabs him late and watches him turn into an absolute stud. Maybe Tristan Lee becomes that success story for Minnesota. Maybe this workout leads to nothing. Either way, it shows the Vikings are doing their due diligence and leaving no stone unturned in their quest to improve this roster. Now let's get back to the quarterback situation, because this is where things get absolutely spicy. Insider Al Lewis is reporting that it would not be a surprise if the Vikings look to add another veteran quarterback behind Kyler Murray. Wait, what? They just signed Murray to compete with McCarthy, and now they want to bring in a third guy? Actually, this makes complete sense when you think about it. Last season proved exactly why having three capable quarterbacks is absolutely essential. JJ McCarthy got hurt. Carson Wentz got hurt. Minnesota had to rely on Max Brommer, a practice squad guy who just wasn't ready for prime time, and the season completely spiraled out of control as a result. Who might that third quarterback be? Carson Wentz is listed as the likeliest candidate, which would be absolutely hilarious considering he was already on the roster last year before getting injured. But the list doesn't stop there. Andy Dalton, the crusty old veteran who has been around forever and knows how to run an NFL offense. Tyrod Taylor, whose mobile playing style more closely mirrors what Kyler Murray brings to the table. Zach Wilson, the former Jets quarterback who still has believers despite his struggles in New York. And here's the wild card that nobody saw coming, Anthony Richardson, the young quarterback with massive physical tools and tremendous upside who could potentially be the future if both Murray and McCarthy don't work out. Honestly, forget about Zach Wilson. That ship has sailed, crashed into an iceberg, and sank to the bottom of the ocean. But any of the other options would make this quarterback room significantly better. Imagine having Kyler Murray, JJ McCarthy, and Anthony Richardson all pushing each other and competing for playing time. That's the kind of depth and talent that championship teams have at the most important position in sports. With the defense Minnesota has assembled, they don't need elite quarterback play to win games. Average quarterback performance will absolutely get you wins when you have a defense that was playing lights-out football at the end of last season. If the Vikings can get anything above average from the quarterback position, this team becomes downright dangerous and a legitimate threat to win the NFC North. Let's do a quick recap of everything that's happened in Vikings free agency so far, because it's actually pretty wild when you see it all laid out together. Additions include Kyler Murray and James Pierre. Departures include Jalen Naylor, Ryan Wright, Javon Hargrave, and shockingly, Jonathan Allen. The resignings include Eric Wilson, Xavier Scott, Bo Richter, and Tavier Thomas, which honestly still makes zero sense. Why bring Thomas back? What did he do to earn another contract? And don't forget they tendered Jalen Rigor and Ivan Pace, locking up some young talent for another season. This is Minnesota's free agency in a nutshell. Conservative additions, painful departures, and head-scratching decisions that have fans arguing about whether Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah know what they're doing. Head coach Kevin O'Connell recently spoke about adding Kyler Murray, and his comments are absolutely fascinating when you break them down. O'Connell said the goal of adding a talented player like Murray was to create a world where guys are pushing each other and elevating the entire quarterback room through competition and development. He wants players who aren't just focused on their own growth, but are creating new standards and raising the floor for everyone around them. Basically, what O'Connell is saying in the most complicated way possible is this: competition makes everyone better. Having Kyler Murray in that room will force JJ McCarthy to elevate his game, and if McCarthy responds the right way, he could absolutely win this job and become the franchise quarterback everyone hoped he would be when Minnesota drafted him. That's honestly the best-case scenario for this entire situation. JJ McCarthy gets pushed by Kyler Murray's presence, something clicks in his development, and he suddenly becomes the quarterback the Vikings thought they were getting when they invested that first-round pick. If that happens, Minnesota wins this competition before a single snap is played, but even if it doesn't work out that way, if Kyler Murray beats out McCarthy and throws for 3,500 yards and 25 touchdowns while leading this team to the playoffs, then you sign Murray to an extension and you found your guy. Either way, it's a win-win situation that gives the Vikings multiple paths to success at the most important position in football. Kevin O'Connell also revealed that he wanted JJ McCarthy to react to the Kyler Murray signing exactly how he did, which tells you everything you need to know about McCarthy's mindset. O'Connell said McCarthy knew the Vikings were going to be adding somebody to the quarterback room, and it didn't change anything about his mindset, his focus on improvement, or his approach to attacking the offseason the right way. That's exactly what you want to hear from your young quarterback. No pouting, no complaints, no demanding trades or expressing frustration to the media. Just put your head down, work harder than ever, and let your performance do the talking. That's championship-level mentality right there, and it should make Vikings fans extremely optimistic about McCarthy's future, regardless of what happens in this competition. Here's the thing that's driving everyone absolutely crazy about the JJ McCarthy situation. Why is everyone in the media so quick to write him off and declare him a bust? Have we learned nothing from watching Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and Daniel Jones resurrect their careers after being written off as failures? Patience matters when developing quarterbacks. Not everyone is ready to dominate from day one like Patrick Mahomes or CJ Stroud. Some guys need time, need the right system, need proper development before everything clicks and they become the player their talent suggests they can be. Why are we reverting back to the old way of thinking, where quarterbacks get 2 years maximum before being tossed aside like yesterday's garbage? There is absolutely no reason to give up on JJ McCarthy right now. Even if he loses the starting job to Kyler Murray, so what? Let him sit, let him learn, let him continue developing, and try again next year. Maybe he gets there, maybe he doesn't, but you cannot abandon a talented young quarterback without giving him the proper amount of time to reach his potential. The Vikings would be making a catastrophic mistake if they gave up on McCarthy after just one injury-plagued season, where he barely got any playing time. Let this competition play out, let the best man win, and trust the process instead of panicking and making decisions based on impatience and fear. And finally, here's a fun little nugget to end on. The Vikings are set to be one of the teams featured in this year's NFL Rivals Uniforms program, with every team from the NFC North and AFC South included. What will Minnesota's rivalry uniforms look like? Nobody knows yet, but the possibilities are absolutely endless. Maybe they'll do a Prince-inspired look, similar to what the Timberwolves did with their City Edition jerseys. Maybe they'll go old school with throwback designs, honoring the franchise's legendary history. Maybe they'll create something completely new and unexpected that becomes an instant classic. Whatever direction they choose, Vikings fans are going to be extremely excited to see what these special uniforms look like when they're finally revealed. The Minnesota Vikings are navigating one of the most fascinating and unpredictable off-seasons in recent memory. From quarterback controversies to trade rumors to emotional retirements to draft speculation, there is literally never a dull moment following this franchise. Will Jonathan Greenard be traded, or will he stay and terrorize quarterbacks alongside an elite defensive line? Will Harrison Smith retire, or will the football junkie inside him demand one more season? Can JJ McCarthy rise to the challenge and beat out Kyler Murray for the starting job? Will the Vikings' bargain-hunting approach in free agency pay off, or will they regret not being more aggressive? These are the questions that will define Minnesota's entire season, and we're going to be here covering every single development as this drama unfolds. If you love Vikings football and you want to stay updated on every breaking news story, every roster move, every practice report, and every insider scoop, then you absolutely need to smash that subscribe button right now. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive into Vikings chaos, and drop a comment below telling us what you think about the Kyler Murray signing. Do you think JJ McCarthy can win this job, or is Kyler Murray the Vikings starter from day one? Are you excited about the direction this franchise is heading, or are you worried they're making huge mistakes? We want to hear from you, so get down in those comments and let's have a conversation. And don't forget to turn on those notifications so you never miss a single video, because when it comes to Vikings news, things change fast and you don't want to be left behind. Until next time, Skol Vikings, and let's hope this crazy
Hey everyone, I'm
offseason
working
leads
to
to an
hit 2,000
absolutely
subscribers
incredible
and I need
season.
your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.